Well, hello, welcome to Open Life Church. My name's Jadon. I'm one of the pastors here at Open Life. I'm so excited that you're joining with us online. Would you do me a huge favor to start off? Would you fill out the Connect card? You can find it in the link in the description wherever you're watching, or if you're using the Open Life Church app, it's right at the top there on the home screen. But this is a way for us to connect with you. If you're just engaging with Open Life for the first time, we want to welcome you to Open Life. If you're a regular, or even if you are a guest, we'd love to pray with you. So you can use that Connect card to share your prayer requests and anything that you'd like the staff and the prayer team at Open Life to know. We will be praying for you this week. Well, today is a special online service as we get to share the recording of last week's in-person service where we heard from our Dominican Republic missions trip team. We just got back from our trip at the end, right at the beginning of August. And so took a couple weeks to rest up, and we were able to share the experiences that we had in Santo Domingo. And so we're excited to share that online for those watching online. If you happen to be looking for the next message in our series, The Life Worth Living, as we've been looking at 1 Timothy and 2 Timothy and Titus, you can find that on last week's online message. So be sure and go there if that's what you're looking for. But if not, stay watching right here as we're going to throw it to Thad as he introduces the Dominican Republic missions trip team.
Well, it's exciting going on trips, and we've said this when we have our teams go, but it's good to be reminded of these passages. Matthew 10:42 says this: "If anyone gives even a cup of cold water to one of these little ones who's my disciple, truly I tell you, the person will certainly not lose their reward." There's a reward that we experience when we go and serve unconditionally the mission of someone who's called to serve globally. And we give up of time and finances to be able to share and really further whatever their passion is, whatever they're working on. And so it's pretty cool that we get to do that in the name of Open Life as a team and take such a great team, a full team on the trip. And then as well, Matthew 25:40 says, "The king will reply, 'Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me.'" So going on an experience like this, we have the opportunity to express the love of Jesus globally, and no matter what we did to even one person, like that was a representation of Jesus that we were doing that to. We were able to take the gospel. I mean, we've been looking at this series through the book of 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy, and Titus, and we've looked at the reality of the passion of Paul. Even though he's imprisoned, he is just wanting to continue to share the gospel all the way to his death, which we'll kind of get closer to this next week. And so I look at the reality that having a passion to share the gospel both here and globally is just a gift from God that we get to do. And that we were able to be funded to go do that was pretty incredible. We're going to share, and am I in the back row on the right side? I'll do that. I might come. Do you want to swap spots, Christy, just to make it to where I feel like a game show host or something? I don't know what I'm supposed to feel like up here. I'll just shrink out of the way and ask questions. Okay, team, you ready? You got so many words to say. We have 2 mics in hopes to pass it and go quickly. The clock is set. I warned them. I was like, 15 people, 30 minutes. This is going to be awesome. We got back the first, late at night. Actually, we got back in July, but we didn't get off the plane until August. Remember that? At good old SeaTac. Angel, that was your favorite, wasn't it? And then you got an email back from, oh man, I can't wait to hear. So we got to chase around the luggage carousels and then finally pray and make our way home. So we were too tired to share that weekend, but it's good to be able to share this weekend. When we got there, we had safe flights, smooth transitions through customs and everything. They just waved us on, met their team at the airport, and we really we had a meal and went straight to work because we had a service that night. And some testimonies. I just want to hear, as we kind of consider what happened starting that night in ministry, what was something, did anything stretch you just like from the get-go that you felt like this is a powerful encounter that I had on the trip from day one? Anybody want to share about their experience?
Is this okay? So like
why don't you say who you are?
I'm Wyatt.
There you go.
Yeah, and so I was one of the people who shared on like that first night, and then we also played worship, and I don't usually speak up to like share in that kind of scenario, so it was just but I just kind of felt a little push just right away, even like first time, to like, yeah, you should share, and I did, and it was cool. I got a great opportunity to like talk to a few people afterwards because of that. It was cool. Yeah.
Anybody else? Yeah.
Yeah, I think like you, I think we coming in and being tired, but then still renewing ourselves and just relying on Jesus to be able to share the gospel and sing. And man, it sounded beautiful. Everybody was engaged, like all the people that spoke Spanish, like all the people from the Dominican Republic, they were singing with us. And we were also stretched because we were singing in Spanish. And, like last minute, we're doing it.
Yeah, on different instruments than normal, or like, different keyboard.
Yes.
Electric drums, just different in-ear, like sound system, small room.
Yes, all of that.
Yeah.
But everybody came in and everybody worshiped, and it was amazing.
Awesome. Right from the get-go. In the coming days, we were doing some different things that was encouraged by the missionaries, the Bayos, to reach out. Why don't you share about maybe what you initially just discovered about Vida Igozo and their ministry, the Bayos, their team, and what did you see, what did you witness that kind of impacted you during the course of it?
Hi, I'm Todd, and I was really impressed. I like going on these trips to kind of get my mind around what the work is that we're supporting. And the Bayos they've planted a church a few years ago. The last time we sent a team down there, we helped kind of launch it. And I was really impressed. They've got this team of volunteers, and she really is able to tap into her network and bring people along and mentor them. And so the Bayos themselves were in the United States for the last 2 years itinerating, and they only got there a week before we did. But the church had been going with this team that they had, and had been keeping things together and getting ready for us to come, and making sure that we're all the arrangements and everything for where we were living, what we were going to be eating, what kind of transportation had all been taken care of by this awesome team that they are mentoring and had been like FaceTiming for 2 years, to get this all together. So I was just really impressed with her ability to network. Where she found the volunteers were from from different ministries that she is networked in with. I was just really impressed with that whole operation.
I think it was definitely like how welcoming they were. Like, it was just crazy, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know anybody. And it was the second I was like, hey, I'm Josie, and I barely speak Spanish, like very, 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 very little. And I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? But they were so welcoming, and I tried my best, and they were so like, oh my gosh, you're doing great. Like, they were so nice about it, and they were so welcoming and willing. And like, we were going like, how many hours was it? Like 12? Like the whole day? Like the whole day we were going, like nonstop, and nobody like complained, and it was just amazing. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is crazy.
I thought they were really inviting. That's kind of what I took out from the whole trip. We ended up making like 100 dozen cookies just to invite all their neighbors, like in not just their neighborhood, but also the mall that they work, like that they have their church in. And we went to every company's door, knocked, and we're like, hey, like there's a little party going on upstairs later this afternoon. Here's a box of cookies and you can come if you want. And we did the same thing in their neighborhood. And it was so cool to see the people's reactions of like, what? Like, why are you giving me a box of cookies? And what is this event? Like, it was not their culture at all to do that and be that inviting. And I felt like that was the same here. Like, we don't do that very often. We don't go and knock on our neighbors' doors and invite them to all these church events. And so I thought that was really incredible to see how they weren't afraid to step out of their comfort zone and invite all those people. And then also just the amount of people that showed up, like what that inviting did, and seeing how people stuck it out through the rain and just had a great time every single event. It was awesome.
Yeah, who wants to share exactly how we made those cookies? Dana just showed up. How did we make dozens and dozens of cookies when we just arrived in the DR?
Well, they asked us to bring cookie recipes, but they chose to use their own instead. And the first batch that was made was very different than probably you would go eat. And so we decided quickly we wanted to make our recipe. So we kind of pulled out a recipe and used the ingredients we had. And those of you who bake know that every ingredient works different. And so the butter had a different consistency. Everything was different. But we made cookies, so we kind of came to the term of, are these the new cookies or the old cookies? Because depending on which batch they were, they looked very different when they were made. And we just had a system down. We had a crew that was making cookies, like making the dough. Yep. We had a crew that was rolling balls and putting them on trays. We had runners. Who are my cookie runners? Oh, here goes.
Yeah, so basically we're in an apartment complex, and two of the rooms were on floor 2, and then two of the houses, or like the rooms you were staying in, were in the 5th floor. And so thank God they had an elevator, because we're using 4 or 5 ovens in all these different rooms. And so we had to go down to the 2nd floor with all the finished cookies. And so me and Eduardo are like in the elevator with these hot pans of cookies. And it was just like the weirdest thing. We always like were rolling our eyes if there was another person in there, because it's just like a hot pan, and you're like potentially burning the person or putting it on the rail, and then the next person grabs the rail and it's going to burn their hand. So
and we'd put, because we had to make these fast, and so we'd take the cookie sheets, once we got the cookies off and they were cooling, we'd take the cookie sheets and we'd hold them up to the air conditioner, trying to get the pans to cool down fast enough so we could make the next batch. We were machines.
So every pan cooks differently too.
Yeah, very. And every oven.
My new favorite pans are the aluminum ones that don't burn the cookies.
The ovens did not have, like, we didn't know what temperature we were really cooking them at. So that was fun too.
It was in Celsius.
Yeah. There's videos of us in the rain that just played behind us. Talk about where we distributed some of those cookies. We invited people to events that were at different places. We did like a park event. We did a morning breakfast. We did a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and all those things we were inviting neighbors to. Talk about how those played out, and even the miracle of people staying through the rain.
So the Bellos and us, we made a ton of cookies for their neighborhood too, and we went around the neighborhood inviting all their neighbors and the people there, and just saying like, hey, we got some cookies for you, and there's some parties going on, one at the soccer field, one at the Bello's house. It was kind of crazy because no one was expecting that at all. Everyone was like, oh, we're getting cookies? There's parties? Okay, sure, we'll go.
Explain how would you get to the people?
So there was mostly gates There was a ton of gates. Every house had like a big gate in front of it, and you had to ring the doorbell or like knock on the gate to get them to come out. And it was just, you got to get through the gate somehow. And you couldn't leave the cookies outside the house because there was like ants and cats everywhere, so they would just get into the cookies. So yeah, there's a lot of things that ate cookies there, including us.
Anybody else want to speak to that?
So the second day, or the fun fair, was that the second day? Yeah. The second day was super awesome. We had that little fun fair in the park. We saw so many cool things. Thad hitting the crossbar first try, evangelizing to the children. It was super awesome. But I think the coolest thing I saw when I was there was when it started raining. If you talk to a Dominican, they usually will always say that when it starts raining, everyone leaves, no matter what. It's like a party or a get-together. If it starts raining, everyone's out of there within 5 minutes. But we had this fun fair in the middle of a park, and it started pouring rain. When I mean pouring rain, I mean pouring rain. Everything got wet, including you. And it was a little bit tough, and I thought it was going to be pretty over, until I was off in the corner, kind of just thinking to myself, talking with my friends, saying how bad this is going, until I heard "Bailando en la lluvia," meaning dancing in the rain. And they were singing that and dancing around while it was raining, just having a lot of fun and just keeping the spirits super high. So, yeah.
The party didn't stop, did it?
The party didn't stop. It got bigger. It got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Which the Bayos said was a miracle.
Yeah,
because everybody goes home when it rains.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we kept painting faces. It just kept going. It was pretty awesome. Anybody else did have anything from those events to share?
Yeah, so the Bayos' whole idea was that instead of having other people throw them a welcome back party or different events, they were going to throw that for their neighborhood and their community. And so I just found that so cool. And so Jamie had reached out. She had us reach out with the cookies and go around the neighborhood, but it was these 3 events, the fun fair in the park, a pancake breakfast, and a 3v3 basketball tournament. And so I just loved how different each of these events were to kind of reach different groups of people. And during 2 of these events, the 2 outdoor ones, it did rain. And like most people, they all were surprised that people stayed during the rain, but everyone just had fun, and it was such a miracle, and it was really cool.
And those events were not normal for their church or them. They just felt called to do them. And they're like, the people beyond the gates is what they refer to as their neighbors, because they're all gated houses. They said, we'll think you're absolutely losing your mind to do these events. We don't do these events in these neighborhoods. And they had no idea if anybody would show up. And they did. And they stayed and still showed up during the rain. So anybody want to speak to the basketball tournament? MVP.
I guess it falls to the MVP to talk about it. The basketball tournament, I think, out of the community events, had the biggest turnout. Yeah. There were a lot of people there. A lot of kids from the community showed up. These kids do not go to the church. They were just kids from around the community, kids that were in the same school as the Bayos children. And a lot of them spoke perfect English because they went to a bilingual school and all that. And so it was really cool to interact with them. And it started raining too. Guess what? What a surprise. And let me tell you, rain in the DR is not like rain here, right? It rains here, you keep walking, no big deal, whatever. the rain over there is rain. Like you get soaked. Yeah. So in the middle of the basketball tournament, start raining. We're still playing basketball, trying not to die by slipping on that was my main concern. I was like, if I fall here, I'm done. It was amazing. Like there was a ton of teams, a ton of people there, and I think we stayed there till, I don't know, what time was it? Like 8, 9?
Well into the dark.
Yeah, it got dark. Creepy crawly starting coming out. As some of us can. Todd got a centipede on him.
A centipede, like a
big, just
big
climbing
centipede.
On him. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And it really brought the community together. People that are not normally there, right? It's like everybody said, these things don't tend to happen over there, right? So it brought everybody together, and I think it taught us all a lesson that no matter how short or out of shape you are, you could still
win a
Joe,
tournament.
can you turn on the audio on the computer for me? You think we're joking about the MVP chance, but watch this.
He gave 150%.
Yeah.
And he gave 100% of his 100% in the first game. And how many games did you end up playing, Angel? Like 4?
Yeah, something like that.
He was dead. We thought we were going to be carrying him everywhere for the rest of the trip.
What nobody's saying here is that on my team, I had 2 16-year-olds that were as tall as Todd, and professional, high school basketball players. So that's part of my secret to being MVP, but yeah.
It went from being Ethan's team on the docket to Angel's team when they won because everybody recognized the amount of effort he put in. It was pretty awesome. It was a good time. Let's see, we did, we sharpened up the Bayo's house because, again, as Todd mentioned, they had been gone for years here. And so they went and did some painting of, like, the metal that had rusted on the bars of their house and stuff. And then we did, prepped a Blackstone grill and did, like, 5 hours of cooking bacon. Wyatt and I were... It's 600 degrees steel. A whole new level of sweat occurred there. And then, and for the pancake feed in the morning, it was just great events. Then we did an outreach at the mall. Anybody want to talk about that?
The outreach was one of my favorite parts in the mall. I was doing the face painting with Jadon Huff, and it was just so fun, just seeing all these little kids playing and having fun, even though there's a language barrier between the English speakers and the Spanish-speaking kids. It was awesome to just see how we interacted and just how much fun all of them had at the face painting place. There was this one little girl. And she was so sassy and bossy and headstrong. She only spoke Spanish too, so she took over our station and started painting the kids. And we didn't know how to get her into the other stations. And she was just like, yeah, and so we asked Diego, which was one of the Bello's kids' friends, and she slaps his hand when he tries to get her to go. She slaps his hand and says, "Cállate," and he was like, "Oh, okay," which means basically "shut up" in Spanish. So that was one of my favorite times. One of my favorite stories, definitely. And yeah.
Yeah, that fun fair was definitely an experience. It was a long day. We started off by giving out cookies in the morning to all the businesses that were there, which was a lot. And I was one of the translators. And for people that know me, I don't speak fluent Spanish, so that was interesting. You know, I definitely got pushing my limits there. Thank you, Jamie, for that. That was awesome. But then also during the fun fair itself, I was manning one of the stations, or I guess I was manning my mom's station, and it was there were so many people. We were like in a tiny, I don't know, maybe
Their auditorium is really small. Their church is smaller than the lobby out here. Yeah.
It was so small, and there were so many people. Like, I'm talking sardines in a can, you know. It was so bad. But, you know, everyone was still having fun, including they're all kids, so they didn't care. And so they all kept coming to my station, playing with me and, you know, playing on my game. Eventually, you know, the game didn't really matter, and it was just kind of throwing balls. But it was fun still. And they were so kind and so nice and so fun to be around. Or one kid, he came up to me at the end. He was like, "My name is Giancarlo. I had a lot of fun with you. Here's my address." He gives me his full address, and then says, "We should meet up sometime." And I'm like, "Sure."
We also gave away school supplies there to the families. They were excited to get a backpack with school supplies. And these were all families from businesses in the mall.
I will add too that like we ran this fun fair with like all these kids while half of our team was feeling sick. Like it was so much fun, but we really gave like all of our effort, and I do have to give credit to the people that were not feeling good because they were pushing really hard to make sure the kids were having so much fun, and they were getting their free school supplies and their free cotton candy and their free popcorn, and we're cleaning up, and like we put so much effort into that day. And so like all the people that were sick, like they get kudos here.
It was not food sick. It was like we were all getting the flu or COVID or whatever we were passing around. So,
and one of the things that was cool about this event was they're in this old. It used to be a shopping mall. Now it's been kind of converted into a business park. So each of like the little places, it's more like lawyers and dentists and all these kinds of places. So when we went there, they kind of had seen that the church was there, but assumed it was just like the office. Or their headquarters, and so it was really cool to say, no, this is actually where we worship on Sunday mornings, and so it's just one of those ways of getting the word out about the church.
Well, the final event we did with them was we launched their high school ministry. Somebody who hasn't shared yet want to share about how that went? That everybody wants Preston to share. Here you go, Preston.
I think he should share.
You crazy kid. Who else wants to share?
Yep. All right. You can go after. Yeah. This whole trip, I was so impressed by creativity, just the creativity of their team. And just so you know, we support the Bayos there. They are worth supporting. I mean, their ministry is incredible and what they're doing. And I know we also have Troy here today from Bangladesh and his ministry. And it's so awesome to go and see these things that seem so far away that we support. So I just wanted to say that it was incredible to see it firsthand and to go, wow, this is an incredible thing we're supporting. The youth ministry night was really cool. We have 3 teenagers, and so anytime you see an event with teenagers be successful, you see kids coming together. They were inviting teens from their neighborhood. They were inviting teens that their sons are friends with, and just to see them coming together and wanting to come back. But their concern is a lot of these kids don't feel connected to their families or their communities and don't have a place to belong, and so they are trying to create that for them. And it was really cool to see the fruit of that starting. Kids sharing, kids feeling like they belong, kids wanting to come back, and seeing all of our kids communicate and become friends, even with some language barriers. I love that about young people, is just their ability to get right over those barriers and welcome each other and get to know each other. So it was really cool.
The high school event was really, really fun. we did this photo scavenger hunt. If anybody's done that, it's like a game where you take pictures instead of like collecting things. You take pictures with the thing. So we split up in teams, and we were like going around. Here's the thing: I got on a team that they all spoke Spanish, barely spoke English, and I was like, oh no. I was like, somebody save me here. I had a girl who just kind of dragged me along. She could speak a little bit of Spanish or English, so I was like, save me. I was like, help me. I was like, I don't know what they're saying. But anyway, it was really fun. And then afterwards, we did like a talk, and we had like some really good pizza, and it was just a really fun time to get to know people like our age. We met a really cool girl. I cannot pronounce her name. I feel really bad. I tried like 10 times. I probably, it's a hard name. But it was really fun, and she was so nice, and she was like, she became enemies with Wyatt because she was wearing heels and he made her run when the scavenger hunt, because yes, you did. It was around the neighborhood and stuff, the scavenger hunt and stuff, and he made her run. And she was like, I was like, yeah, no, he's my brother. I was like, he's my enemy too. And I was like, and she was like, you're invited to my birthday party. I think us three got invited to her birthday party. Sadly, none of us can go, but, you know, I wish I could have. Yeah. Okay. Who wants?
We've highlighted some events, but I want to take the last like 8 minutes before we pray to share. So what's something that you encountered there, a moment that moved you, that has inspired you to do something here? What's a way that you'll be shaped and inspired to do something different?
I think for me, personally, I think I speak for my wife as well. She'll tell me if I don't, but we saw all of the kids work so hard and interact with the community and just get out there and talk. And I was so proud of all of them because they all did such a great job, and they really represented Open Life. They really represented you guys out there. I mean, we all did, right? But specifically the way these kids got out there, mixed with the community, mixed with the other young people there, and even the adults, right? It was really amazing to see. And it really gave me an idea of we could be doing these same things here, right? And I thought, you know, the community meetups that we did last Sunday were so great because it's like, this is a step. This is what we should, this kind of stuff is things that it's worth doing, right? Because we get to see our children and ourselves interact with other people that maybe they're part of the church, maybe they're not, right? Maybe they're looking for a place to go, maybe whatever, maybe they just need somebody to talk to and somebody to reach out and talk Jesus to them, you know? So all of these were such great opportunities, and it just really gave me a heart and a vision of like, hey, these are things we could be doing right here in Bonney Lake. Baking cookies and, you know, doing basketball tournaments, that kind of stuff. We could do that here too, you know? So that's what I got, so.
Nice. Anything, Nathan? I'm sensing he's got words. He's got words bubbling out of him.
I don't know. I think a lot of what I could say has already been said by everyone. Mm-hmm. I don't know, just pushing through more difficult things. Being sick the whole trip was less fun, but just working through that was good to do, and I feel like it's something I could do more of.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else have something?
I think just getting out there more and like talking to people and connecting. This is really what I learned, because in the DR, like most people spoke Spanish. It's like, you know, over there, it's more difficult to communicate. Here it's easy because we all speak the same language, and we can reach out to each other so much easier, and it's just something you realize when you're in a different place. It's like, you know what, maybe I should get out there more. Maybe I should talk to more people and make more connections, meet other kids, and something I really thought about over there.
Yeah, I think it was something similar to kind of what Angel and Alondra and like everyone was saying. It's just like the realization that like it doesn't have to be like a perfect scenario, or you don't have to have like all the perfect setup, or like, oh, I suddenly have all this free time, so now we can do it. It's like they just kind of, they did it, even though it was tricky, even though there was a lot of things to overcome, like those kind of meetings and those kind of like getting out there, even though it was like awkward at times, it was a little uncomfortable, like just going up to people's like gates and just like, hi, like when they'd like poke their head out and they'd be like, what are you doing here? We're like, oh, we've got cookies and we're inviting you to these 3 different things. It just like, it's uncomfortable, but we all pushed through that, and it was so cool to see like the result of that. The different people, like the different, like how happy everyone was, how engaged everyone was at those events. Just the kind of realization, like, yeah, we can do that here too. So I want to do more of that going forward. So it was cool. Yeah.
You couldn't even get to their doors. Like, it was a harder way to reach.
Yeah,
their neighbors are even more distanced than our neighbors, because it's a gate and then a house and dogs, big dogs, lots of dogs. So it was very hard to access them, which is why they have a passion to reach beyond the gates in these gated neighborhoods that usually don't get the gospel brought to them at all. And those people turned out for these events. Anybody else?
I would just say I was challenged by the people of the church and just how much they're involved. Not the people who's like, Jamie and Barely, it's their jobs, or Zach and Joanna, like the incredible team that they were working with us the whole time, but like just like normal churchgoers that took time, almost like multiple times, to come to the park, to come to the barbecue, to come to the 3-on-3 tournament, to come to the kids fair, and so just thinking like, how much time do we fill our schedules up with, great things, but in like the grand scheme of things, not like kingdom things, or not for the purpose of reaching people that don't know who Jesus is. And so it's like trying to figure out how we as a church can do better at providing more opportunities for people to get involved, to invite their friends, so that, the whole reason we're existing is to show people who Jesus is. And so if they're not, they're hurting. So,
and rallying around somebody's crazy idea to reach their neighbors, and the fact that we could rally around that. We constantly were like, what would we do if we brought an outreach team to Bonney Lake? What would that look like? Where would we do a prayer rock? Where would we hand out cookies? Where would we, lodge everybody? One of the people was manager of this Airbnb, which used to be a hotel, became like individual apartments. And he gave the idea to the Bayos, hey, maybe we could host teams here. And we were the first teams that were hosted at this place. So they really didn't know how it was going to work out. It was awesome. It was great. And that was just somebody in their church raising his hand saying, well, maybe I could help. And we were able to lean into the gift he was able to provide the church. It was really cool. It was a cool opportunity. So how would you say we should pray for the Bayos? Anybody have a specific way that they say we should pray for this ministry?
Well, first thing that comes to mind, Ethan, actually, he's Eddie and I's age. He is for 2 years now, right? The next 2 years. He is actually back here, for school. So he is staying, I think, with his grandparents, right? Yeah, and he flew over, I think yesterday, might still be flying right now. So just pray for them as they're all kind of going through that, like what that means for everyone, especially for him, as he's like, I mean, he's been here for like the past 2 years, but still, it's weird to just suddenly not have the rest of your family. Like, it's
So Ethan is the Bayo's oldest son.
Ethan is their oldest son. Yeah. So just pray for them. Yeah.
Anybody else have a way we could pray?
Yeah, I would say their transition back to living in the Dominican Republic, since they've been gone for 2 years itinerating. I know Jamie had mentioned a few times that it was just, even though she's lived there for so long, it's still a transition every time when you move from one culture to another after being in the other for a long time. And so as they reintegrate into being in person at their church, and as other people who've been leaders or handling things on the ground there, as they just kind of shift roles and shift things around and are used to living there and reestablishing relationships that they've had with people and friendships, and the kids' connections with the school, and now that Ethan's going to be in the U.S. And so it's all just a huge transition time for them, and they got back only a week before we arrived. So just pray for them as they navigate that.
Anybody want to pray? Yeah?
I think one thing we completely left out, though, is like all the people that we got to interact with, like Zach, Joanna, Veronica, Victor, Amanda, and so just like Jorge. Yeah, so we can just, so I think like one of the ways we can just be praying is like, you can pray for us because we have that relationship with them, and just praying as we pray for them, like, I think that's how prayer works. So sometimes we don't know what we're praying for, but we know we're praying for good things. So I can pray. God, thank you so much for just the opportunity and time for this team to share just our experience and just the ways that our hearts were shaped and molded by you while we were there, but also by the people and just the incredible experiences we had of even persevering through sicknesses and doing difficult things with good attitudes, maybe when we didn't even want to have one. And so I think all those things can build character in us and build perseverance in us to withstand the daily attacks that we have in our own lives, where we can push through and persevere for the relationships in our lives, whether they know you or not. So with family or with neighbors, with coworkers, for friends, God. And so would we all realize, Lord, that you've put us on different paths in different communities, even thinking about what we shared this last weekend about missional outposts, that you've sent us into places and communities to share your good news and your love with people. And so would you stir our hearts for new ways to love one another and to love those that don't know you as well. So I just pray for this next season of Open Life as we prepare for future trips and as we prepare for a busy fall. We do the community big give, and that's one of our largest things we do at the church, God. So give us perseverance and patience and the generosity to make that happen once again this year. And so we just thank you for all this in your mighty and powerful name. Amen.
Amen. The question we didn't get to is, why would you encourage someone to go on a trip? And anybody have a compelling, quick answer to that?
Relationships.
Yeah, new relationships. Growth. Any other one word?
Cookies.
Cookies. We did make some cookies that we have on tables out there. Just, you had to. We're talking about cookies.
I would say the relationships, just like meeting new people that are really nice and help you grow in your relationship with Jesus.
Basketball immortality in another country.
Definitely meeting more Christians. If you don't have many Christian friends, it was amazing to see and meet more Christians. The community. Well, there we go.
I think it can expand your view of God as well. It's really cool to see the church and see people interact with God in different places. I think it's really, I think that's really powerful.
I think just getting out there and having fun with the people there and expanding your view on the different places and the cultures and how they interact with their religion over there, and how to bring Christianity into their lives.
Pass it back down. I see some more.
I was also just going to say it's inspirational being there too, just seeing different ways that people do things and like the hardships that people go through on day-to-day lives just to get things done. So, yeah.
And going as a family, you can't beat it. And so those of you who have kids, you know what? It doesn't matter their age. We've taken Preston's been since he was 1.5 to Indonesia for an entire month. That was the story. But it's just great. And I think all of us, it was unique that we didn't plan it this way, but it turned out this way, and it was pretty cool.
It was a great trip to have teens on, launching a bunch of youth outreaches and stuff. So we encourage you to look at future trips and express your interest. Stephanie wants to facilitate you making it to the ends of the earth and fulfilling the challenge we have in Scripture. We've got a trip to Chile next summer. We've got a potential trip to France, as well as a potential trip to Speak Up in Bangladesh in May. So make sure that you're expressing your interest. We'll have sign-ups. Watch for that. But more so, stretch yourself. Ask God, is this something I should be a part of? Thank you for being with us today at Open Life. If you're a guest with us, we'll be back into our message series next week. Grab a honey, grab a coffee, meet the people you're worshiping next to today. Delicious cookies, lots of cookies, and kids. If your elementary kids are in here now, right? That's the nod. I was interpreting sign language, visual cues. There you go. But the preschool's still over there, right? Or is everybody? Okay, good. So make sure you get your kids too before you get your coffee. Okay, God bless. We'll see you next Sunday.
Well, I hope you were encouraged and challenged by today's message. Thank you so much for watching to the end. At the end of our services, we always talk for a brief moment about your giving and generosity to Open Life. Each time that you give to Open Life, you are helping sustain what we do on a day-by-day, week-to-week basis here in Bonney Lake at Open Life Church. But it's also something where we try to be very strategically generous with the funds that are given to the church. And so we do that by helping people locally and globally in areas where they're hurting in their lives, trying to bring healing, rest, and restoration to them. And so we work with a number of partners in areas such as hunger, education, bringing relief where there's disaster areas in our world, bringing justice to the oppressed, reaching unreached people groups with the good news of Jesus, and also a few different other ways. And so we're just excited to be able to, this month of July, talk about giving towards education. And you know, we're in this series talking about in Timothy, where, you know, Paul has this emphasis on how we're caring for those in need, and we should do that wisely, and we should do that well. And so for this month, we're focused on education and the kids in our school districts of our area. It's important that we have an eye and an ear towards the needs that are going on in their lives. And so one of the things that we do as a church is we're very integrated and working with in cool partnership ways with our local school districts. There's many relationships, many teachers within our community that help that relationship work well. But as well, there's things such as youth forums where Thad and other pastors at times are able to go in and hear the needs in some of our schools as a part of what's happening with the Communities for Families Coalition. And so through all of these different partnerships, we found some creative ways in the many years that Open Life has been in existence to partner with our local school districts. And so sometimes this is bringing school supplies at the beginning of the school year. That's not so much of a need currently. And so then there's other initiatives that we can pursue, whether it's snacks for the start of the year for different schools and different school districts. And so we love to be creative and how we're operating on this. Sometimes we're helping specifically foster care students with their educational needs through our partners with Olive Crest. And so whatever way that God is able to bring doors that we're able to walk through, we want to be able to walk through them. And so one of the ways we do that is just setting aside for this month 10% of what's given. So that's going to be $2,750 that's going to be set aside for educational projects that we get to partner with over the course of the next year. And so thank you so much for your generosity to Open Life. Again, we always say what you do helps us do what we do as a church. So with that, this is the end of our service. And so I hope you have been able to enjoy, been challenged. I hope you join us in the future at one of our in-person services at the Bonney Lake High School Performing Arts Center. We meet there each Sunday at 10 a.m. And if not, join us online wherever you're watching right now. Have a good week, and we'll see you soon.